Antaryascha bahirvidutatimiram jyotirmayam shashvatam sthanam prapya virajate vinamatam ajnanamunmulayan pashyan vishwamapidamullasatiyo vishwasya pare parah Tasmai Sri Ramanaya Loka Gurave Shokasya Hantre Namaha. In the 21st verse, which we saw last session, Vide Prayatnasya Chako Vivadaha Tayor Dvayor Moolam Ajanatam Syat Vide prayatnasya cha moola vastu sajjanatam naiva vidhirna yatnaha. Vidhihi prayatnaha. Vidhihi means what is unchangeable, ordained to be experienced by all of us and known as destiny. Prayatna is Purushakara. Purushena kartum shakyate iti Purushakara. That is, what can be done by an individual to change, to make choice, to alter, to decide. And we all think that we have certain amount of self-will or free will, without which we would not have achieved all that we have achieved in life. Everything destined to happen, then there is no human will. Now the point is, some people argue it's a circular argument, that what you think you can do is also destined. What you think you can do or decide is also destined. Because what you did in the past has come in the form of a present situation. And this present situation brings you the opportunity to do, and what it gives you as opportunity, that alone you can do. I want to fly. Yes, no, it's not possible. I don't have wings because my past actions have made me human beings. I'm not a bird. And therefore, what you can do today at this moment cannot fly. Because you are not a bird, because the previous action has not given you that option. Therefore, you are destined to only walk or run, you cannot fly. This argument is, even though it looks very appealing, people who resort to destiny alone and do not have any self-will to do anything, they are also subject to doom. Conversely, those who think that there is nothing called destiny, only human will, when they meet failures in spite of their own actions, performed very well, they get depressed. Therefore, we need to understand neither destiny is foolproof, nor free will is foolproof. And the argument keeps on going. Which came first, destiny or free will? It is like asking which one came first, the seed or the tree, or egg or the chicken. So this is what is known as anavastita dosha. Avastita means staying. Anavastita means never stays, never determinable, constantly is subject to cyclical argument. So in this particular such situation, atra idam avagantavyam vidhi prayatnau atsvatantrau. They are not independent of each other. Vidhi prayatna paratantraha, prayatnaha cha ichadinaha. Vidhi prayatna paratantraha. Vidhi is depending upon what has already done, and whatever we do, prayatna is ichcha adinaha, depending upon our desire. Ichcha tu ahankara sahacharini karma kartruh swatantram anyasya jivasya. So when I have a desire, that is the desire that is making me put a self-effort, and the desire is going along with ahankara. Jivasya swatantriam jiva vyaktashraya bodha atmani ishvare. That very jiva, the ahankarin, what is the mula ashraya for that ahankar? What is the substratum of the ahankar? When we come to realize that ahankar as the ashraya on Atman, evam deva purushakarayoho atmaparatantratvat upayoho moolam atma anveshaniyattvena pratipaditaha. Therefore, Ishvaraha is the giver of the result of my action, and that Ishvaraha is also Atman only. The individual self who is engaging in prayatna is able to do it because of the very substrat of Atman. So both for vidhi, karmapalam, prayatna, purushakaraha, free will, in both of them, one factor is common, that is Atma Ashraya eva dvau. Both of them are depending upon that Atman, the self alone. So, evam bhumikayam purushakara vicharavasare vechadam. Both of them are depending upon the same, the individual self who is thinking that he can do the ordinance or the very vidhi that is their destiny, which is coming out of karma phalam. Both of them have the same substratum, Atman. Therefore, by abidance in the Atman, both of them can be overcome. This kind of argument is a waste. That is why it is said in the last part of it, it says that Sanjanatam naiva vidirna yatnaha na vidhi na yatnaha sanjanatam. Kim sanjanatam? Mula vastu sanjanatam. Mula vastu of what? Videhe prayatnasya. Both vidhi and prayatna. Both of them. So this way, that is this argument is kept aside. The next verse is about Ishvara Darshanam. How do I come to have the vision of the Lord? People say, no, oh, Bhagavan came to me and he talked to me, he played with me, he sang with me, danced with me. So Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi said, very good, Bhagavan came to dance with you, talk to you and all that. Batao kahan hai wo? He came and went. So that means he's temporary. Is he temporary or permanent? Swamiji, of course he is permanent. Acha. So abhi nahi to kahan hai? If he has come and gone to play with you, etc., where is he right now? Inside you, outside you, away from you, near you? Where is he? So now you see. Yadishu durvikshanameekshitaram avikshatan manasike kshanam syat na drashturanya paramohitasya Viksha swamole praviliya nishta Yadikshitur vikshanamikshitaram Avikshatan manasike kshanam syat Na drashturanya paramohitasya Viksha swamole praviliya nishta. You know, the word beautifully used by Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi is Ikshitaram, Ikshitra, Ishitaram, Ishitra, Ishi, Isha is Ishvaraha, Ikshri, Ikshitaraha, Ikshituhu is Drishta, seer, the self. Ikshitaram, Drishtaram, Avikshya, not seeing. Without seeing the seer, yet Ishiduhu Vikshanam, if somebody is intending to see the Ishwaram, that is Manasika Ikshanam Syat, merely a mental imagination. Pouring a cold water on the enthusiasm of a devotee. Any devotee will get very extremely upset by this very. Bhagavan ko maine dekha hai. Kahan dekha aap? Andar ya bahar? Will inside or outside? Outside. Oh, okay. Where? Where? In a place? In a temple? Where did you see? I saw in the Vrindavan. बहुत बढ़िया. ठीक है. अब का कहाँ है वो? वहाँ, where is he gone now? If he is coming and going, interestingly, yesterday, day before, we were playing a video for this 12th graders for Gurudev, their graduation, and we played a video from Gurudev, who spoke about, very interestingly, he spoke about everything must have a cause. If you say, I am here, then I must have a cause. My father must be there. Even if I have not seen, nobody can say, I'm born without a cause. So obviously. So if in this world, everything has got a cause, what is the ultimate cause because of which everything is? Your grandfather must have his own cause of great-grandfather. Who is the greatest grandfather? He said, Adam and Eve. Let us take the case of Adam and Eve. If Adam and Eve has come, Adam must have a father to have come. Without that, Adam kahan se aayega? So we call it as God. All right, God, whatever you call it as. What is here? Who is he? He must be the ultimate cause of the entire creation. And that ultimate cause, the cause of the entire creation, must have been there forever. Because if you say he is also born, then there's a problem. So what is his nature? Sanatana. Sada Anand. Sadanand. Sada Atana means, Sana Atana means that which is always there. No, no, no. So when we say Sanatana Dharma, Sanatana Paramatma, so some people would object and say, no, no, no. Our God has got a place of birth, a date of birth. Do you have that? Krishna is, or anybody else, Krishna, let us say, if you take him as an avatar, then he has a date of birth. Any saint or sage has a date of birth. And any saint or sage has a date of death also. Because they has taken a human form, whatever form, and they have come at some point of time and gone at some point of time. But God can take avatar. That avatar is not God. Messenger is not God. No, no. Our God is born at some point of time. And then what happened? And then he died. Poor God died. Your God dead. Then what will you do now? By very nature of that reality is it cannot disappear. It cannot become absent. Now, therefore, if somebody says, I saw Bhagavan without seeing him as drashta, that's what he is trying to say here. Ikshitaram avikshya. Vikshya is to see. Visheshena ikshanam, vikshanam. Avikshya, not seeing. Ikshitaram. Ikshitaram means drashtaram. The seer, the self. Without seeing the self, Ishiduhu vikshanam, Ishwarasya vikshanam, Ishwarasya darshanam. Yat tat, if you say it is manasika ikshanam, it's merely a mental imagination. But some people say that is sufficient, Swamiji, for me. I'll keep on imagining. So you will live only at the Manomaya Kosha, that's all it is. Drashtuhu anyaha nahi paramaha. Drashtuhu anyaha. Other than the self, there cannot be anything higher. See, if I'm seeing the world, this world is because I, the seer, is there. Without the I, the seer, does the world have its own existence as far as I am concerned? If I am seeing you, the very fact that I am seeing you, your existence of seeing your existence is depending upon me, the seer, the self. If the seer is not known, the vision of so-called Ishvara also is merely a mental imagination. So therefore, in Upadeshar also he said, Isha Jiva Yo Veshadhi Bita Swatsvabhavato Vastu Kevalam Vesha Hanatah Swatma Darshanam Isha Darshanam Swatma Rupada. Isha Jiva Yo. Between the Ishvara and Jiva, Vesha Dhibita. Dhibita Vesha. Dhi Buddhi Janida. Dhi Bida Bedaha. Buddhi Janida Bedaha. Isha Jiva Yoho. Ishwarasya Upadi Samashti. Jivasya Upadi Vyashti. Jivasya Upadi Panchakosha. Panchakoshadi, Deha, Panchakosha, the 5 layers of the personality. Ishwarasya Upadi Pancha Mahabhutani. Akasha, Vayuhu, Agnihi, Apaha, Prathivi, Ityadi. And also Sarva Namarupa Jagat, Ishwarasya Upadi. Upadi, garb, body. Parantu jivasya, individuals, upadhi, garb is panchakosha. This is the difference. Samashti upadhi, veshti upadhi. So, veshahanataha. When this vesha is removed, because essentially satsvapadamado vastu kevalam. In essence, as far as existence, nature of concern, it is concerned, ishajevyoho na vedaha asti. There is no difference. Veshahanataha swatma darshanam. Panchakoshadi viveka rupena veshahanataha veshahananyat. By the destruction of the vesha, by the destruction of the identification of upadhi, what happens? Swatma darshanam. So atmanaha darshanam bhavati. Isha darshanam. That very, very self-realization itself is Isha darshanam swatma rupataha. See, this is the reason why Ramana Maharshi's focus is mainly on, let us forget about the world, God, everything. Aap khud ko malum ho jao. Find out who you are. Forget about everything else. Main kaun hoon? Ko hum? Who am I? This, work on that. So that's why it is said, Ikshitaram drashtaram avikshya adrishtva ishiduhu ishwarasya yad ikshanam darshanam bhavati tan manasika ikshanam manomayam darshanam syat. Manomayam eva. It is merely a mental thought. That's why he said, for many of the devotees of cold water poured on their enthusiasm. Swamiji, that means to say all these, various things that are prescribed, japa, what is that called? Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Shakyam, Atmanivedanam, Ityadi, Navavida Bhakti, Ukta, that's all spoken. These are all not necessary. See, it is interesting thing one should understand. Karma yogena chitta shuddhihi japa yogena ekagrata upasanaya sarala chintanam jnanadeva atma darshanam. Sarala chintanam, a continuous thought about the self in the form of Bhagavan, is through the upasana. The upasana vidhani, that is spoken as Navavidhani. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnoho, Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Shakyam, Atmanivedanam iti. So these are all definitely necessary for one to overcome the Virala Chintanam. Thinking about varieties of things and getting disturbed. Sarala Chintanam, Sahaja Chintanam, continuous thinking, sajadiya vritti pravaha, the thought process of a similar kind to happen, upasana. So it is an essential means to bring that constant attention upon the self, but atmajnanena nishta. And that nishta is swatma darshanam. That is why he said here, merely thinking that the Lord is an external reality in the form of any particular physical form is manomayam darshanam syat. Nat sat swarupa sakshat karanam bhavati. It is not a realization of the self. Atma bodham vina na Ishvara bodhaha. Without knowing the self, there is no possibility of knowing the Lord. Otherwise, what happened? Bhagavan is another powerful person, that's all. He's a better politician than anybody else. Good politician. One who can do something good for us. Other politicians may not do that. They are also equally powerful. But he also is powerful, but in the form of what? Powerful for the benefit of everybody's welfare. I think there's some delay in the... Yes. So, Bhagavan Krishna says in Gita, Udara sarva evete. All these people are men of meritorious deeds, good people, who artho jijñāsurattarthi chaturvida bhaktaha mama. There are 4 types of them, and that is artho jijñāsurattarthi jnani. So, ete sarve udara. They are all great, devotees, no doubt, and they are all raja. But then, in those 4, other 3, that is the first 3 of them, they are not looking for me. They are looking for what I can give. And if I don't give, they'll go to somebody else. See? Correct or not? If you go to Bhagavan Ishvara, Bhagavan Shiva, ask for wealth, he will say, I will give you a snake. Snake, what do I do with it? I cannot give you that, what you want. So then the people go to Vishnu or somebody else. So they have specific, abilities or various other gods. But the jnani who comes to me, Bhagavan Krishna says, he doesn't want anything. What is he looking for? He's looking for himself in me. Such is the nature of a jnani who can finally end in Nishta. So when you are looking for a God externally, why are you looking for a God externally? If you are interested in moksha, see, one thing is paranchikani virna swayambhuhu tasmat parang pashyadi nantaratman. Because the eyes, ears, nose, tongue, all these are all designed to see outside. And so if you are looking for God as an outside thing, then obviously it is conditioned by the limited sense organs only, as operated by the mind. Then you are not seeing what is really the nature of Ishvara is. You are only seeing what is reported by the eyes, ears, etc. And that you consider as the truths. How can that be? That is why he said, it is not, it's a manasya vyapara only. It is merely a mental transaction. Drashtari jnate. So, it is Atma bodham vina na Ishvara bodha Brahmana eva hridi Atma rupena bhanam jnapayaduhu jnapayadum Atma drashta pradamam jnatavyam iti uktam. What is to be understood first of all is the one whom I am looking for, the very omniscient, omnipresent presence of the Lord is none other than one who is here in me as drashta, the self. Pradamam jnatavyam, drishtari jnate, upon knowing the self, drashtu moola swarupam ishvaraha eva iti avagamyate. The moolam, the support of the drishta, the seer here, is none other than Ishvara himself. Iti avagamyate. Ata eva atmanaha manomayatve yadi isha darshanam bhavati. If in case somebody is merely seeing it as a mental thought, tad manomayameva darshanam. It's only by another vritti, Sean. Atmanaha manomule sahaja swarupe siddhe when that very source of the mind is understood, yad Isha Darshanam bhavati, tad Atma Swarupameva bhavati iti hetumaha. Atma samstitihi swatma darshanam Atma nirdvayat Atma nirdvayat Atma nishtata. They're not two. The one who is attempting to see the self and the self are not two. Atma nirdvayat, it being not two, mind and consciousness are not two. It is apparently two. The actor and the character are not two. They are apparently two. When the Vesha is removed, actor is then none other than the character. The character is none other than the actor. There are no two. When does the character become the actor or the actor become the character? One loses oneself in the other. The mind and the consciousness, if they were to be two, then one can say mind is in search of the self and it will have a vision of the self, because vision is possible only when there is outside. Vision in the sense seeing. But here the vision, ikshanam, is nishtha. Meaning what? Knowing, realizing I am the self and not I am seeing the self. The actor can never see the character can never see the actor. The character only knows that I am an actor. The chain can never see the gold. The chain can realize that I am gold. The mud pot cannot see the mud. The pot can only realize I am mud. The snake can never see the rope. The snake only realizes I've been acting funny like a snake. That's all. So where is the seeing? If you say seeing, then what are you seeing? Yad Isha Darshanam bhavati tad Atma Swarupameva bhavati iti hetumaha. Hi yasmat hetoho drashtuhu paramaha anyaha na iti. Therefore, other than the drashta, the self, paramaha, other, na iti. Na drashturanya paramo hitasya. Na drashturanya paramo. Drashtuhu anyaha, other than the self, na paramaha, superior. Tasya viksha, meaning Ishwarasya ikshanam, Ishwarasya viksha, yasamule praviliyate pravilyanishta. Abidance in the self is Ishvara Darshanam. Tasya viksha. Tasya viksha. Viksha swamule pravilyanishta. Na anyaha pradak vakyam drashtu jivat vishayinaha paramaha ishaha anyaha binnaha na bhavati. जीव के बिना कोई और ईश्वर बाहर में नहीं है, नहीं हो सकता है. इसलिए तस्मात् जीव परमयोः चित् स्वरूपत्वेन अभेदात्, as the pure consciousness is undifferentiated, drashtuhu जीवाक्यस्य स्वबोधं विना, without the knowing of the self, which is known as jiva, paramasya yadartha darshanam na bhavati. It's not possible one to have the vision of the Ishvara, the Lord. Tarhi darshanam kim lakshanam. What is that darshanam then? Tasya viksha swamule pravilyanishta bhavati iti vakyam. Tasya atmanaha viksha darshanam swamule manomayasya atmanaha drashtu moolashreye praviliya swayam adarshanam matyatvaya Nishta sa sahaja sthitihi bhavati. That sahaja sthiti, this is what is again and again emphasized by Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi. Sahaja sthiti, natural, effortless, spontaneous abidance. If I have to hold on to something, I need to put effort. Let us say that I am holding on to something, book, while sleeping. Let us say I am reading a book. For a deep sleep, you need to have Vedanta book. Then you go to sleep very quickly. So you take the book and start reading. Slowly, slowly, slowly. When you abide in yourself, whatever you hold on will go away. In the effortless, even sleep, even effortless merging into sleep, can you hold on to anything? What about, forget about the physical thing, what thought you will hold on to? I want to sleep is also a thought, that also cannot be held on to. That also will disappear. In the same way, external perception of the Lord is an external activity of the mind and the senses. You may do it for developing a love for the Lord, etc. Fine. But Atmanishta, when it takes place, nothing you can hold on to. No thought you can hold on to. Because the thought is an expression of the mind. Mind's essential nature is consciousness. When the mind is merging into consciousness, its own nature, there is a question of mind independently having thoughts about anything. Therefore, sahaja sthitihi. That natural, spontaneous, effortless abidance is what is referred here as the Swamulanishta, abidance in the source. So continuing in the next verse, he says, what is that nature of that abidance there? Atmanamikshet param prapashyet Ityagamokte sulabho nabhavah Natmaiva drishyo yedika kateshe Swayam tadanni bhavanam tadiksha Atmanamiksheta param prapashyet Ityagamokte sulabho nabhavah Natmaiva drishyo yedika kateshe Swayam tadanni bhavanam tadiksha. It is said in our Upanishads, Atma va are drishtavyah, shrotavyah, mantavyah, nididhyasitavyah. Tavyah means to be done. Kartavyah, to be done. Jnatavyah, to be known. Drishtavyah, Atma va are drishtavyah. You should see the self. But how? Shrotavyah, mantavyah, nididhyasitavyah. First listen, reflect, meditate. So this is the method. First one is what is to be achieved, drishtavyah. How? Shravanena, mananena, dhyanena. Shrotavyah, mantavyah, nididhyasitavyah. Now, it is said that one has to have the vision of the self. Atmanamiksheta param prapashyeta iti agama ukte those which are spoken as to be done. What? Atmanam iksheta. Iksheta. You should see the self. Param prapashyeda. One should see the Lord. Iti agama uktehe. Thus it is spoken in agama. Agama means Upanishads. Agamen uktehe. Bhavaha na sulabha. Even though it is said, Swamiji, just now you said spontaneous, effortless and all that. To become effortless, you have to put a lot of effort. This is way, on an interesting book, one of our publications is called Undoing. The art of undoing. Undoing means what? Swabhava. We have so many strong habits. Those habits which we have carried on for many lives, very hard to overcome. Those habits, either they are born with us or we picked up on the way during this life also. To give up those kind of such strong habits are so hard for us. Swamiji, I have so much liking for the sweet, etc. How do I give up? I said, just give up. But how? The way you picked up. You think about it. How did you pick it up? How do you make it as a habit of eating sweet every day? After lunch, Swamiji, one sweet होना ही चाहिए. ये कौन बताया आपको? आप ही खुद बताया. You have taken just on yourself because you liked it. So you picked it up consciously or unconsciously and it became a part of your daily routine. And therefore, giving up is also should become daily routine. As much as you made it as a part of your life by doing, you must make it a part of your life by undoing. It cannot happen suddenly, by itself. So here, to become effortless, a lot of effort is necessary also. If a singer is very effortlessly singing, you should ask that person, what did you do? Itna prayatn kiya maine. So much of effort for that. We don't see that part of the personality. We only see what he is putting on the stage. But what has been done by him for so long that you don't know it. So here, Atmanamiksheta, perceive the self. Param prapashe, may you see the Lord. Ityadi, agamoktehe, sulabha na. Bhavaha na sulabha. It is not easy. Why do you say that? If you say Ishvara Darshanam is easy, it is not easy because interesting thing is, if you have not seen yourself, how are you going to see Bhagavan? Hey, आपके पास है, sada hai, always there, that itself you are not able to see. Kahan se what is not, cannot be seen, all-pervading presence of Paramatma, how will you see? Na atma eva drishya hai, atma khud hi nahi malum hai aapko. Then, yadi atma eva na drishya hai, if the self itself is not seen, Isha ka kada. What is the story of Bhagavan? Kada, what is the story about it? What to talk of that? So that is the reason why one has to avritta chakshuhu amritatvamichan kaschitiraha pratyagatmanam ikshat. Upanishad says kaschit, or a rare Kaschid dhiraha, a person of determination, pratyagatmanamaikshate, one comes to see the inner self, avritta chakshuhu, turning the attention within, amrutatvam icchan, desiring immortality. What is very close, very much available for us all the time, that itself we are not able to completely see. The Lord of the universe, who is present in every form, and then it is imperceptible. How will you see that? Atmanam iksheta atma drishtavyah param prashyet ishvarah sakshat kartavyah ityagamoktehe anubhuti matam attanam vakyasya bhavo na sulabha tatparyam dur avagaham ityartha. It is definitely difficult. Kadam dur avagaha bhavaha iti darshayati. Why is it so difficult? Atma eva nadrishyah yadi isheke kada ka kada atma drishta eva nadrishyah yadi vishayatvena gocharah namavadi. Even the self itself is not an object of perception. Ishe vishaya saptami ishwarasya darshana vishayatvam prati katanasya eva avakashah nasti. There's no question of, even if somebody argues, no, we will come from the other side. Instead of seeing the self and then understanding that as a Lord, let us see the Lord and we know him to be ourselves. अच्छा ठीक है, पहले कहाँ से शुरू करते हो? Where do you start from? Unknown or known? Starting from the known is the intelligent way of doing things. मैं कौन हूं, ये दृष्टा कौन है, ये पहले देखो. As we have seen in the Drishyavik also, Rupam Drishya, all the forms are seen, eyes are seer, eyes are seen, mind is a seer, mind is seen, Buddhi is a seer, Buddhi is also seen, Buddhi's condition is also known to the awareness, that awareness I am. This itself is a process which is difficult. And if you are able to recognize that awareness behind the Buddhi, that is called avritta chakshuhu, where the intellect is turning within. It is not worrying about what is the thought there in the intellect. The intellect is now, who is the thinker? It was Einstein who said, my greatest wonder is, why am I wondering? Who makes me wonder this about this world? I want to know. So the one who is behind the buddhi, buddhe paraha, kaha, greater than buddhi is what? That drashta yadi pashet, if in case you see the drashta, then Isha darshanam ho gaya. Wahi hai Ishwar. So therefore, swayam tad, so what is the method? Ata atma darshana paradarshana agama vuktehe darshana padasyaiva lakshyam bhavam udghatayitum aga. Then what is the method? You said it is difficult. What is the method of doing it? Last line. Swayam tadanni bhavanam tatiksha. Swayam oneself, tadanni bhavanam, swayam prakrita atma sharira jiva rupa jivakya drashta vishayi sambandhi tvena adhyaharyah tasya sakshas tadanni bhavanam bhavatehe bhavate bhavanam anannam annam sampadyamanam bhavanam anni bhavanam tasya ishwarasya anni bhavanam ahari bhavaha eva tadiksha ishvara sakshatkara. Presently, aham karta, aham bhokta, meaning I am the doer, I am the enjoyer of what I am doing or results of what I am doing. So my present, all of our actions are about what? मैं करता हूं, I am the doer, and I want to enjoy the result of my action. And as we evolve into Karma Yoga, we say, I am doing, but the result is for the Lord. Later on, you come to recognize, I'm not the doer, Bhagavan is the doer. Now, what he's saying is, you are not a bhokta. You are not the enjoyer of your results. You become enjoyed by the Lord. Bhagavan, to the Lord, you become the annam, bhogya. He is the bhokta. He is the enjoyer. So you see here, he says, Ishwaram didrukshamanaha jivaha tasya aharaha bhogyaha bhavati. Meaning that surrender, that completely giving up one's individuality as the bhokta, the enjoyer, is possible only when you allow yourselves to be the annam for Bhagavan. See, when I eat food, when I have it in my plate, the food that when it is there in front of me, and I am the enjoyer of that food, moment I take the morsel of rice and start eating, what happens to that food thereafter? Does it stay independent of me? That annam, when it is eaten, becomes swayam. Swayam, oneself, a part of the bhokta himself. Evam grihitu bhoktuhu ishasya grahyah jivah bhogyah bhavati. Bhokta Ishwarah, bhogyah jivah. No, one cannot think that it is a duality here. Na iha dvaita apattihi. Why it is so? Chit swarupe jivasya ishwarena saha sayujya kyatat atma siddhehe. The individual self is nothing but actually the reflection of that very consciousness of the self. Who is the buddhi? What is the buddhi here? Buddhi is none other than the reflection of consciousness, chidabhasa. Right? Chidehe abhasaha chidabhasaha. Reflection of the consciousness. Reflected consciousness, we say. Now, the reflection of consciousness cannot exist without the consciousness. It has no independent entity, independent existence. Now, when it becomes a bhogya of the self, when it becomes the annam, food for the self, what does it mean? It means that it recognizes I am because of him. I am not independent of him. That is called annibhav, annibhavanam. Tavedam atmadarshanah vyakhyanam sahajatmanishta pradipadakena purvoktena saddarshana swarupena virudyate nishta sayujyayoho abeda anyatra vicharitaha. This way, prapatti, which is spoken in the third verse of Bhagavad, in the second verse there, in this very saddarshanam, that is prapatti, they surrender to the Lord, and nishta are not two different things. So it is to say that I am none other than the enjoyable presence of the Lord. I am not the enjoyer of the world. So let the Lord be the master. Let I be the one who is ruled over by him. In this way, absolute surrender is what is referred as in the bhakti tradition as nishtha or prapatti. Whereas in the jnanam, where we say that the individual who is coming to recognize and realize the awareness as the self has already understood the nature of the nature of God also is the same awareness. In nishtha, where one merges in the self, in prapatti, where one surrenders to God, both of them reaching to the same point of oneness. This is why he is putting this possible two different variations, but they are not two different things reaching the same point only. Now, when we say that the individual self is none other than the reflection of consciousness, that the relationship between these two must be understood properly. So as Guruji puts it here, that there is this technique of meditation is explained in the verse next 24. Diye prakasham paramo vitirya swayam diyonta pravibhati guptaha diyam paravartya diyontaretra samyojananeshwara drishtiranya. Diye prakasham paramo vitirya swayam diyonta pravibhati guptaha diyam paravartya diyontaretra samyojananeshwara drishtiranya. Diye, in that very intellect, Buddha, Paramaha, that supreme reality, the self, consciousness, Prakasham Vidirya, having extended or provided that light of consciousness, Swayam, by itself, Diyaha Antaha, Diye Antaha, Buddhe Antaha, Guptaha Pravibhadi, shining from within. See, the sun which is there outside is actually giving light to the moon outside. Sun here, moon here. Light there is reflecting on the moon. Correct? Now you understand, consciousness is not sitting outside the buddhi to give the light. It is giving the light from inside. Interesting. Diyoho swayam diyaha antaha guptaha, hidden within, pravibhati. So buddhi, having the reflected consciousness, the reflection is not coming from outside. It is during the Thanksgiving time, that pumpkin they make holes and then put a light inside. The pumpkin seems to have a lot of, holes, but a lot of light it comes out of that. Many, from many apertures. Nana chitra kadodara sthita mahadeepa prabhavaswaram. Nana chitra, various apertures. Gata utara sthita, inside the pot, the deepaha, the light. Nana chitra katotara sthita maha deepa prabhavaswaram. That is actually Thanksgiving light. Shankaracharya has written a long time back. So lamp sitting inside the pot which has many holes, the light from that very pot comes out in different ways. ऐसा ही बुद्धि के अंदर जो वस्तु परमात्मा है उसका प्रभाव, उसके वो the प्रकाश, eyes, ears, nose, tongue, skin, speech, hands, legs, anus and reproductive organ, in these various indriyas, manaha, buddhi, ityadi, through this it is just spreading out. कहाँ से? अंदर से. Meaning, the light is inside and expressing one side. One reflection is the ability to see, ability to hear, ability to smell. Diye prakasham paramo vidhira swayam diyoho anta pravibhadi guptaha. So how do then one turn the attention to the self? Diyo paravartya. Turning the intellect within, meaning turning it, that is called avritta chakshuhu. Paravartya. Avartanam is to turn. Para avartya, having turned within, diyo antare atra, diya antare, within the intellect, atra samyojanat, uniting with that source of light, Ishvara drishtiranyana. Other than that, anya Ishvara drishti na bhavati. Sanjodana na Ishvara drishtiranya. Anya na drishti Ishvarasya. Other than that, there is no real Ishvara drishti. Jo Atma Vastu hai, that very self says nature of consciousness, which is reflecting through the buddhi. See, therefore, eyes, which are sourced by the very light of consciousness, to see the Lord as outside is a mistake. You understand now? Where is he? He's inside. Why are you looking outside? The light is from inside. You are looking for the light outside. The source of the light I'm looking for. The source of the light is inside you, because of which you are. Yeah, that is why it says, na tatra chakshur gacchadi, na vak gacchadi, na manaha, na vidmaha. Yet chakshusha na pashyati. Eyes cannot see it. Why? Yena chakshum shi pashyati. Because of which eyes can see. Gurudev used to say, because the battery that is there within the bulb or behind the bulb cannot be seen by the bulb. So the bulb is lit by the battery, and if you try to look at the bulb, the light, the battery, it will fail. Think that is beautiful for meditation. Withdrawal is none other than knowing that I'm able to see, I'm able to hear, I'm able to smell, touch, is because of the reflection of consciousness reflecting in the intellect. That intellectual reflection is none other than the presence of that very self within. Gupta, hidden. Hidden in the sense not because of which afraid. Hidden is imperceptible, not known, cannot be known. Anyway, here we stop. Let's see. Om sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramaya, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dukkha bhavet. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om. Shri Guru Pyo Namaha Hari Om.